Hey guys. Okay, so I am so excited about this unit coming up. This week we are beginning our discussion of the Waco siege. This is kind of one of those things for me that I just grew up knowing about. So I actually grew up 2 streets away from where this happened. Many of you have probably heard of it. Many of you may have not heard of it. It's more and more common these days that I'm finding students who don't know about it. Or you may have heard some things about it, but didn't really know it was called the Waco siege. I never did. We called it David Koresh, the compound, Mount Carmel. It was just part of everyday informal language for me since I did grow up in Axtell, and that's where it happened. It's called the Waco siege because it was world famous news. And people knew Waco, Texas, but they did not know Axtell. So, and technically the 911 address is Waco. So this whole thing I feel very connected to. My dad had friends that were a part of it. My friend's stepdad was a child in this. And the ATF and FBI landed in my parents' backyard and spoke to them a lot about how it happens because we have a runway behind our house. So they landed their airplanes there and their helicopters. So I feel very personally involved in the story. I know some people who know David Koresh. I'm going to play you kind of a testimony and the opinion of a man I know who is, I wouldn't say friends, but acquaintances with the man, knew him well enough, and kind of give you some inside opinions on it. And that's always my favorite. I think it's the most authentic. And I think we're given a really special opportunity here in Waco, since we do know people who actually lived through this and who went through this. We kind of get an advantage to hearing the story that most people do not. So if you don't know, the Waco siege was a shootout that resulted in a fire. It was a 52 day. I need to look at my facts. 51 day, I believe, standoff between the ATF and the FBI and the Branch Davidians. They were members of a religious sect that was, they lived all together out almost like a village, but they lived in this building right here. This is a drawing of it called the compound. You can see in this picture, they're kind of horrified here by what's going on. This is a world famous event because the FBI was highly critiqued for the way they handled the situation. Many people died, many innocent people died, and it's now seen as a national embarrassment by our government for the way they handled this situation. Not the actual situation itself. There were some illegal practices going on there, but the way this situation was handled, it could have gone with a lot less bloodshed. And this actually was a big factor in some events that we'll talk about later, the Oklahoma City bombing and Timothy McVeigh. People did not trust the government after this. They were angry about what happened and rebelled against the government in some awful ways. So the damage from the Waco siege was catastrophic, and we're going to see that and see just exactly what you think. I want to know your opinions on it. We're going to watch some documentaries. We're going to read some articles. We're doing some things over the next few weeks just discussing this and trying to break it down. So we do still have to learn our things that we have to learn. So our first thing today is we are discussing argumentative versus informative essays. Now, these used to be called expository and persuasive. Persuasive and argumentative, it's now called an argumentative essay. Persuasive and argumentative essays really are the same thing, at least on a high school level, even though persuading and arguing are not. So if you are trying to persuade someone, you are trying to convince them, right? Trying to make them do something. In this case, a persuasive essay tries to, you are trying to make the reader believe what you believe. You're trying to persuade them that your argument is correct. That was a little too broad because persuasion can be used in many ways, so they changed it to argumentative. You are arguing a point, and you want people to see that point. So last year for the freshman EOC, you would have wrote an informative essay or informational essay, also formerly known as expository. They just changed the name on that about a year ago. Now, the expository essay's purpose is just that. It's to inform, and that's why they changed the name to informational. It's easier to remember. your whole purpose is to pick a topic and educate everyone else on it. Now, usually you have to have an opinion in your thesis statement about that. However, you see both sides of it and you're just informing us of something. So you're exploring angles of a topic in a neutral way. It's usually written in third person. I tell you not to use I. And the thesis statement tells you the writer's topic. And your topic is usually an opinion you have over a subject, but again, you're just informing us of this thing. Is objective, meaning you're trying not to take sides here. Argumentative, you're choosing a position for or against something. It can be written in first person, so you can use I. You have a thesis statement that presents your argument, and it is subjective. Objective versus subjective. Objective means you're not taking sides. It's not anything anyone can argue with. So when you take a multiple choice test, those are objective, because if the correct answer is A, the correct answer is A. You can't argue with that. Now, you may not agree that it's the real right answer, but when that answer key goes out on the STAR test and a group of people have decided this is the correct answer, and math is extremely objective, because 2 + 2 = 4. It does not equal 5. It does not equal 9. That is objective. There's one correct answer. Subjective is it's your own personal opinions or feelings are in there. So when I grade your essays, if I am having a wonderful day and I just read an excellent essay and I'm sitting out in the sunshine and I'm grading them, and I thought, that's a really good enlightened thought they have, I may give you a 95, right? And I don't usually give grades that high on essays, but I might think, even though their grammar was really bad, they worked really hard on this. I can tell they've been trying a lot in class. I'll be a few gracious with a few extra points. Let's say I have just gotten off the phone with a parent that was yelling at me, and you were disrespectful in class that day, and you didn't do the grammar again like I told you to and told you to and told you to. Am I going to be gracious and give you those 5 extra points when I've told you time and time again not to do the grammar and you didn't really deserve that grade? No. Now, hear me when I say this. I will never give you under a grade that you deserve, okay? If anything, I overgive because I don't ever want to undercut you. And if you ever feel like a grade is not fair, you need to respectfully express that to me so we can talk about it, because English is hard to grade because it is subjective, okay? And you don't mean to be, but if you're in a better mood when you're reading something, you're going to like it more. Just chances are. You're in a better mood. So again, there's a steady balance. I use rubrics and certain point values to grade. So essays should not be all that subjective. You'll get your base grade, which is going to be objective based on these things. This is your grade. If I'm feeling generous to give you some extra points because I'm in a good mood, that is subjective. Okay, caught me on a good day. Same with back talking, things like that. Okay, so we're going to go through these 4 quotes that I took from an article that we're going to be reading. And you're going to tell me if you think they're argumentative or informative quotes. Well, technically, I can't hear you. So you're going to type in the little Edpuzzle box what you think they are. On February 28th, 1993, some 80 agents from the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, which is the ATF, raided a religious compound at Mount Carmel near Waco, Texas, after receiving reports that the Branch Davidians, the name of the religious group that lived there, and their leader, David Koresh, were violating federal firearm regulations. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute. Answer this question. Is this argumentative or informative? Okay. This is going to be informative. There is no bias in this. All right, so we have the date, February 28th, 1993. That is true. That does not change. That is the date. 80 agents, around 80 agents, that's true, from ATF, yes, raided a religious compound. Now, a lot of people will call these people a cult, okay? That's slander. That is using biased language to make them sound bad and to discredit them. They didn't consider themselves a cult. They never claimed to be a cult. Nobody that knows them thought they were a cult. That was a term used by people who didn't support them to make it sound like what they were doing was crazy. Okay, but a religious compound is what they were technically qualified under. Mount Carmel, that's where they were, near Waco, Texas. Branch Davidians, that's who they were, and their leader, David Koresh, who was their leader. And they received reports that they were violating federal firearms. There were reports that they were violating them. Some people in the compound were, some people in the compound weren't. However, this is entirely true. It's all facts, which means it's informational. Okay. This is from the same article. Koresh was the lamb, the only one, according to the book of Revelation, which is a book in the Bible, if you don't know, worthy of unlocking the 7 seals and revealing to the world the entirety of the Bible's teachings. Okay, in the Bible, basically, it'll go over this in the documentary so you can explain everything and you can understand more. The 7 seals are mentioned in the book of Revelations as kind of these 7 things that have to happen before the world ends and Jesus, who they believe is their savior, comes back to earth to save everyone. So, and they also call Jesus the Lamb of God. So David Koresh, the Lamb, he was according, or he called himself the Lamb, and they called him the Lamb. So he was saying, basically, he was telling these people he was the Son of God here to do this. And he was the only one worthy of unlocking the 7 seals and revealing to the world. They believe that when heaven comes down, this particular branch of Christianity, when Jesus comes back and when the 7 seals are broken, that everyone will have access to heaven and also full knowledge. So these people believed that this truth would come about when David Koresh unlocked the 7 seals. And everyone would know divine truth, kind of the whole truth of the world, how things work, how it was created. We only use 10% of our brain power. They believe you have full access to everything. And basically, some people believe we become like superhumans. Some people believe you just get to know everything ever. Some people just believe you get to know the truth about heaven, hell, and an afterlife. And is there a God, or is there our religion's true? Basically that. So, and just little disclaimer, I say all this to explain the topic, not to push any religion on you in any way. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute to answer whether or not you think this is argumentative or informative. Okay, this is argumentative. You can argue with this, okay, because it is an opinion. You can choose a position on this, and this chooses a position, right? Koresh was the Lamb, the only one worthy of unlocking the 7 seals and revealing to the world the entirety of the Bible's teachings. There are plenty of people out there, the majority of Christians these days, and Branch Davidians, they were a member of the Seventh-day Adventist group, which is a type of Christianity, just like Catholics are a branch of Christianity and Baptists are, Seventh-day Adventists are as well. This was a branch of the Seventh-day Adventists. So technically their overarching umbrella religion was Christianity, but they had some very extreme beliefs that were extreme to them and them only that you probably would not find in the Catholic faith or in the Baptist faith and things such as that. They just believed in the same higher powers in the same book. So this could be perfect for an argumentative essay. It's arguing that David Koresh is the Son of God. That is obviously not informational because it is not a fact. Okay, Koresh sent a message through his lawyer announcing he had received word from God and was writing his message on the 7 seals. He would come out with his followers when he was finished. All right. Koresh sent a message through his lawyer announcing he had received word from God and was writing his message on the 7 seals. He would come out with his followers when he was finished. While there is, I'm not going to ask about this one, I'm just going to explain it. So you have to be careful with these. While there is a message here that could be an argument that he received word from God and was writing his messages, this right here is a fact. He sent a message through his lawyer announcing what he had received, and he was going to come out with his followers when he was finished. This is a fact. This is a piece of information that was put into this article. It's completely informative, okay? Though 9 Davidians were able to escape, investigators later found 76 bodies inside the compound, including 25 children. This is also a fact. Very, very, very sad. Okay. That's kind of just a little basis on argumentative versus informative. This unit that we're going through, we are learning about argumentative essays. So again, freshmen, you are writing an informative essay. I think I may have said earlier in the video that you're writing an argumentative because I was thinking you were sophomores. I'm so sorry. You're writing an informative essay this year, informing us on a topic, but you still have to learn about argumentative essays and argumentative writing. So you're going to watch this video, how to write an argumentative essay in 4 easy steps. I think it's just a good overview to kind of get you in the right mindset. For writing it, everyone has a different way of writing essays. I have my own preferences for sure, but I agree with everything in this video, and I think it's a good just kind of stepping path so you know what to expect. You're not just starting with nothing. Okay, so I cannot legally put that video on this video, or I will be flagged and potentially charged for like stealing someone else's idea. So I'm going to post the video below, but please make sure you watch that before you complete today's Google form. Today's Google form is easy. It's similar to what we just did. You're just going to be picking out pieces of information and saying whether they are more informative or more argumentative. Okay, remember, if it's an opinion, it's argumentative. If it's a fact, it's informative. Okay, pretty easy. All right, so you're just doing facts versus opinions, basically. Okay, watch this video, please, and good luck.